Hey guys, this is Brad from Isla Instruments, and at the moment what I'm doing is trying to get together loads of little video tutorials and tidbits just to show you through all the features to get in time for shipping so that everyone knows what they're doing. Of course we'll have the user manual as well, but I know a lot of people like to watch videos. And there's quite a few things that we haven't actually demoed in the past, but all of that's going to change now that I'm getting through all of this video stuff. One of the ones that I wanted to let you know about is live input monitoring, which is pretty new into the firmware. Only came a few days ago, but it's I think it's going to be really useful for the different sort of ways in which you might want to use it. Now, as I talk about this live input monitoring stuff, what I'm also going to do is give you a quick rundown on what the various inputs are doing on the back. So our inputs on the back, we've got two phono inputs which both have their own individual preamps, so that you don't have to connect a mixer in between a record deck and the S2400. And then we've also got line 1, 2, 3 and 4. Now they're all 4 separate jacks. Line 1 and 2 has a separate input, a separate preamp stage, which is selectable, a gain multiplier from ×1 to ×100. Now I'll explain that a little bit. On ×100 gain, you would be connecting a microphone into the jack socket, and you'll need to boost that level up. So that's going to work with a microphone. If you use sort of ×10 multiplier, that will let you power stuff like electric guitars, other sort of those sorts of instruments, and then obviously ×1 is going to be your line level devices, so that's going to be your keyboards or a CD player or anything like that. So I'll take you through. I'm going to connect this guitar up real quick to give you a quick example. And what's nice is that you haven't got to preamp stuff before it goes in the machine. Obviously, if you've got nice expensive preamps and other stuff, you're going to want to use that before you go in and just always record at line level. But it's nice just to have that stuff in the box. So input monitoring, live input monitoring, has its own screen in the S2400. So on there we're presented with being able to switch it on or off. I'm just going to turn it off for a moment. You can select your input source that you want to monitor, so it's currently set to line 1 and 2, but you could change that to 3 and 4, phono 1 or phono 2. I'm going to leave that set on line 1 and 2 for now. Our input gain, now instrument levels sit around the ×10. As I said before, if you wanted to change that to ×100, you'd be plugging like an SM58 in or something like that. But what's also really cool is that you can route the input signal to any of the outputs. So at the moment that's getting fed into stereo bus 7 and 8. But what's really cool is that you can change that and isolate it to only come out of the headphones. So you could be playing along in a live situation, getting a little bit of a practice, making sure your levels are right before you change that to go out into the main stereo bus. So I think that's going to be pretty useful. You can also change the output mix to be mono or stereo, and of course your final level there. So I'm going to just pop some cans on. Sorry about my COVID-19 hair, by the way. I haven't had a haircut since March, I don't think. So I haven't got anything turned on there. Now I've been messing around with a little pattern. And this is going to be like just a sort of a use case scenario thing. So if we've got our pattern playing, mess about the filters. Now, so you can sample that in, go and adjust, trim all the endpoints and everything. I just think it's going to be a really useful thing to have that live input monitoring while not necessarily sampling, or also being able to put it through different outputs to preview it. So putting that back into the mix again. So next coming up is going to be some real in-depth stuff about sampling, and I'm going to be taking a sample off of a well-known record, getting a breakbeat in there, and chopping the breakbeat up into different slices in multi-slice mode, and putting that across the pads. And yeah, there's going to be lots of other stuff, content coming over the next couple of weeks. Now, most of my work that was to do with the hardware development and everything is done. So I can finally get to be at one with the machine, so to speak, and try and get all this stuff demoed for you. Now, if you've got some questions or something that you want to know specifically, leave me a question in the comments, and I'll speak to you soon. Thanks.